Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the May 21st, 2026 regular council meeting. Tonight will be led in prayer by Deacon Larry Gronis, and if you would please remain standing for a Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's bow our head and pray for God's blessing. Heavenly Father, we gather in your name tonight as we begin this meeting. We give honor and praise to your Son for offering up a perfect sacrifice for our salvation. For only through him can this council do anything. Today, as always, we come to you asking for your guidance and wisdom in serving your community. Help this council as we approach our National Day of Memory and prayer for our fallen, to teach us all how to grow in love in serving your people you have entrusted them to nurture the bonds with the community. Teach all leaders of government to sacrifice, to serve their people as your Son served and sacrificed for his people. Father, please bring your community together as we prepare for our festival next month, so it'd be a successful gathering for all. Bless those less fortunate than ourselves, that they may thrive in this wonderful little city. Enable us, we pray, always, God, to proclaim the power of your Son as we continue this Easter season, that we who have received the pledge of his gift of the resurrection may come and possess all he gives us. He will fully reveal. So we ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn.
Thank you, Deacon. Roll call, please.
Mayor Perry,
Here.
Vice Mayor Croucher,
Here.
Ms. Montgomery,
Here.
Mr. Prophet,
Here.
Mr. Nichols,
Here.
Ms. Butts,
Here.
Mr. Rourke.
Here. All right, we'll go to presentations. We have Chief Carr.
Good evening, everyone. Several weeks ago, we installed a speed detection device on West Arlington, up in the northern part of the city. We had received complaints from a resident in council chambers who expressed her concern for the number of speeders in the area. So the speed board, the speed sign, was placed on West Arlington to the east of Cranewood. So approximately 3 weeks, we left the board in place, monitoring vehicles that were passing. The number of vehicles that passed the speed board, if I can find my exact number, approximately 7,200 vehicles passed the speed board. The speed limit on that street is 25 miles an hour. The lowest speed we recorded was 10. The highest speed was 52. There were 364 vehicles on average that passed that speed board. So that was a high speed. However, the average speed of 7,289 cars over 3 weeks, 25 mile an hour speed limit, the average speed was 21.5, well under the posted speed limit. Of the number of vehicles that passed, there were approximately nine out of over 7,200. Had we observed, we would have pulled over and or issued citation. That's 0.125% of the vehicles that passed the speed board would be subject to citation. So I know that when we observe speeders, it's like when cars are approaching on a curve. Your mind plays tricks on you, and it actually looks like it's going faster than what it is. And that's for me operating a radar on the dashboard of my cruiser for decades. So there are times where you will look at cars and they appear to be doing quicker than what they are, but the electronic monitoring device will tell you exactly the speed of the vehicle. So we're at 21.5. That speed board has been taken down for now, but it is available to go on any other street if needed, and we can monitor vehicle we can monitor vehicle speeds and get all the statistical data we need at that time if there's another request. Any questions on anything?
I have a question.
Yeah.
The speed board here on West State by Founders Park has not been working for quite a while.
Okay.
Are we going to get that repaired or
We
replaced? or
we
is that
can
in the
get that
process?
repaired and processed. I don't know if there's a problem with the board, the battery. We just have to take it down and plug it in and do a diagnostic and figure out what's going on with it. That won't be. I hadn't noticed that. We can take care of that.
Are you going to leave the pole there at West Arlington? Because once all of the building that's going on over at Arlington Park, isn't that the name of it? Yeah, Arlington Park. That's a little bit of a concern. And I went 10 miles an hour. I did.
Well, not to speak for Public Works and to have them running around the city installing and removing poles, it's not that difficult once they determine what is underground at that location to install that pole or remove that pole.
I'm not saying to remove it. I'm saying, can you leave it there
Probably so.
for later?
Yeah.
Because
Yes, ma'am.
it's right there at where I live.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So anyway, I
Yes.
just for the future,
Yes.
that's what I'm looking at.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So I think I was as shocked as everybody else. Well, at least audibly, that's what I heard when I heard the 52 miles an hour. One, yes. That could possibly be an emergency vehicle, correct?
It could be.
Okay. Just, I thought about it for a second and I thought, well, does it know what's an emergency vehicle and what's not? So that could have been an emergency vehicle.
And I have to tell you, I'm a little bit surprised that the average speed was below the posted speed limit. That was a surprise to me. But it's electronic, and unless there's some major malfunction with it that we're unaware of, and the diagnostics seem to be running just fine with it. So that's where we are, sir.
All right. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you. And I'd just like to remind everybody that any time that you see something like that or you think people are speeding on a road like that, just notify the city either in a council meeting or notify on the website. You can go in there and anonymously report it, and we will look into it. All right, we'll do approval of minutes. Number 1 are the minutes of the May 7th, 2026 regular council meeting, and number 2 are the minutes of the May 7th, 2026 work session. Are there any amendments to the minutes as presented to us? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Croucher and Councilwoman Montgomery. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Croucher,
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery,
Yay.
Mr. Prophet,
Yay.
Mr. Nichols,
Yay.
Ms. Butts,
Yay.
Mr. Rourke,
Yay.
Mayor Perry.
Yay. So we have nothing on our consent agenda, so we'll go to correspondence. Number 1 is the April financial snapshot. Mr. Masisklis.
Thank you, Mayor Perry. Nothing further to discuss regarding this. This was covered in our work session. I'll give a more robust breakdown when half of the year is completed.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll move on to audience of public. To keep the meetings to a reasonable expense to the city and preserve decorum, the following rules shall apply. We will not attack members of the public or council personally. Both will be addressed as a whole and not as individuals. While comments are open to all, taxpayers of Trenton and signups using their legal name are the first to have the floor. The person speaking has the floor. During their time at the lectern, no one else shall speak. After the speaker has finished, council or staff may answer any questions if they wish. While there is not a set time, please respect the time so that everyone can speak. Council and staff will not answer theoretical questions. And then if litigation is mentioned, it will go directly to Mr. Zipfeld. No comment will be made by staff. I will ask after every speaker if council wishes to answer any questions, and that before we move on. So we'll go to the first person on the list, and it is the resident at 856 Greenwood Lane.
How y'all doing? My name's Charles Payne. I live at 856 Greenwood Lane. I've been there for about 30 years almost, and I've been in Trenton for about 32. I come to you guys today to speak about the ordinance of the fence and where it stops and where it can go to. I would like the ordinance to be changed to go to the front of the edge of the home, not to encapsulate the front yard, just to be able to come to the front edge. I take a lot of pride in my house. So I just, it's a security thing and one thing aspect. I just had a new drive poured, so I'm going to be putting my trailer or camper there and, my HVAC units there and everything else. So, to cover that up and beautify it would be helpful, I think, to the neighborhood and presentation of that kind of stuff. So, it also helps me keep my grandchildren in my backyard and still be able to enjoy the space that I want to have. So, that's pretty much all I got with that. But I would like to see what we could do about that.
Thank you. And I know that for the longest time, fences have been kind of the pain with everything. On our list was to go over the fence ordinance, but then again, I think we change it every other year, it seems like. But I just want to tell you that it's a long process because the way these things are, they have to go to council and then go to a committee and then have a public hearing and then a vote after that. But we will work on that and speak about that internally.
I'd appreciate that very much.
Thank you. Anyone else on council?
Thanks, guys.
Mr. Peters.
Hello,
Hello.
Hello.
this is Trenton. This isn't China or England. we don't need data centers keeping track of all of us and polluting our land for miles and miles away. We pay enough water bills and taxes as it is. Me and my dad built the house in Trenton.
I didn't know Daniel had asked to speak.
Yeah.
I'm Daniel's father. Daniel has some very minor learning disabilities. Daniel is very upset about the data center. We have read numerous articles and reports on data centers. We have yet to find one report that's a positive where a data center does anything for the community. It lowers property values, that's proven. It raises electric rates, that's proven. It's very noisy. It changes the temperature in the ground up to 1.5 miles away. It changes the ambient temperature up to 1 mile away. I probably shouldn't be speaking because I don't live in Trenton. I live on Thomas Road, but I'm within the 1.6 miles. And I just wanted to come and see for myself the people that voted for this monstrosity for our community. There is no upside. When the brewery and the data center use up our water, they'll pack up and move on. We'll be here stuck with the consequences. It's just a loser. And if you voted for it, you voted for a loser. And we're all going to pay the price for what you've done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Mr. Blankenship.
May I say I appreciate Daniel's comments, and
We appreciate him coming tonight.
Yes. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council, all the other attendants. Come tonight with a paper in my hand that was written by Michael Bryson, which is Senior Vice President of Operations at PJM. It was written May 17th, 2026 to the Honorable Chris Wright, Secretary of Energy, United States Department of Energy. I'm not going to read it all, but I'm going to start about halfway through. Beginning tomorrow, Monday, May 18, 2026, and extending over the next several days, a period of unseasonably hot mid-May weather is coming to much of the eastern United States, including much of PJM's region. It did get warm, but the request was, PJM requests that you issue an order effective tomorrow, May 18, 2026, authorizing PJM in a collaboration with its transmission owners and electric distribution companies to direct data center customers, whether specifically identified by the department as having backup generation facilities or otherwise available pursuant to Section 202C, order to use those backup generation facilities instead of the grid. If that would have happened, Ryan, we would have had 112 generators sitting up here on the hill.
Sir, you know the rules.
I do. I'm sorry about calling you out. But we would have 112 generators sitting up there on the hill, spitting out carbon dioxide, all other kind of chemicals. No noise ordinance because that's exempt with the way we've written it, to where it can be as loud as all get out for our citizens here. That's not healthy. That's not smart. That's not good business, and that's not neighborly. What's going to happen if we decide to annex the thing and we want to put another 400 or 500 buildings up there, another 600 generators? We've got 700 generators up there all of a sudden on the hill during the month of July running full time. Council, this isn't a smart way to go with our city. This is going to destroy our city. It's caused division. It's caused people to hate each other from both this side and that side. And I hate seeing hate. I do. I hate seeing division. What I want to see is a healthy community, a community that thrives, a community that can get along, and a community that can see eye to eye instead of constantly fighting backwards and forwards. But as long as we're talking about data centers and what we think they may do, because we don't even know what the first one's going to do yet, we shouldn't even be sitting there around anybody thinking about adding more up here on the hill. Because the more we add, the more it's going to destroy our community. And I don't want to see it destroy community. I moved here in 2019. I'm starting to really appreciate the place. I really like what I've done to the place I have, as well as y'all. Like what y'all have done. I don't want to see this whole place destroyed because we want to add something in that all of the other communities around us are putting moratoriums on so they can stop them. I think if the other communities see a problem to stop them, we need to figure out somewhere to stop them ourselves. Don't keep going with this because hot days are coming. When we have that data center up here on the hill cranking up, they're going to run no matter what. And I don't want to see poison and smoke come out of those things, noise come out of those things. People can't sleep. There's a school sitting right down here, folks. We have people that were in the war. I know my dad was in the war. He was in Vietnam. He has PTSD from it. And I know what noise does. And do we really think about those people? No, we don't. So please think about what we're doing with all of this before we make any more decisions about more data centers.
Thank you.
What did you say caused, why was the reason all of them be running full speed? What was you?
Because it got hot. It was it was 81 degrees and PJM ordered them all to be shut down. They wasn't going to supply electricity off the grid to a data center.
Where was that at?
That was all over. That was all 13 states in the PJM region. Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia. Everybody that was in the PJM region got this.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody.
So if it's in the region, any data center that's in the region or any data center that takes electric in the whole region theoretically drives up costs for everybody, correct? So even if there was a data center, let's say in Kentucky that went in, we would pay for that increase according to the things, but yet receive no value from it whatsoever in property taxes or income tax.
But what we're gonna receive from it is when they tell them to cut that grid off, we're gonna have to sit up here and shut it down.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to Mrs. Markham.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Angie Markham. I'm at 600 South First Street. I wanted to speak this evening regarding the Trenton Citizens Academy, which I have been able to be a part of over the last few months. And I wanted to give some public appreciation for that experience and the individuals who've made it possible. I've learned a lot, gotten some answers to interesting questions, met some really good people, and had opportunities to see and do things that I otherwise wouldn't get to see or do. I'm not playing favorites because I have truly enjoyed every session, but a special shout out to the fire department for the opportunity to take a door off a car using the jaws of life. That was really cool, and I still can't believe I got to do that. I'm going to use a few names. Hopefully it's okay because it's in appreciation.
No,
Okay. I wanted to thank Mr. Beresford for encouraging me to join the Academy this year. I know he's put a lot of thought and work into organizing it, and in my opinion, it's been a great success. I wanted to thank our police chief, our fire chief, and their teams that volunteered to give demonstrations. I appreciate them letting us see behind the scenes. Both of those sessions were unique experiences that the average citizen wouldn't usually get to see. A thank you to the teams at the maintenance garage, water treatment plant, and public works for demonstrating their knowledge and the diverse expanse of work they do to keep this city functioning. A thank you to Mr. Masiskalis for patiently explaining TIFs to us and some of the other terminology that we don't necessarily know and understand because we don't work in local government. And I'm looking forward to our zoning session next week. So a thank you in advance to Mr. Bridge and his team for that and for fielding the questions that we are likely to have. It was awesome to see that we have a lot of passionate people working in the city. They're not just there for a job. It is a job for them, but they truly seem to love what they're doing, and they were excited to tell us about it. So if there's anyone here tonight or watching the live stream that has wondered about the Academy or considered doing it, I would highly recommend it. Even if you're not considering doing it, because I wasn't really on my radar and didn't think I had time for it. But I'm glad it was suggested to me. I'm glad I made time for it. So again, thank you, Mr. Beresford, for that nudge. There was one item that came up this past week during the session that I wanted to bring up for the council. While we were at the water treatment plant, one of the water operators was talking about the aquifer, and he talked pretty extensively and passionately about how fortunate we are to be over the aquifer that we're over. Besides reassuring us that the amount of water is great and vast, probably as much as the Great Lakes is the example he gave, he said that we also have one of the highest quality water sources in the country. The water is already so clean and pure that if we were allowed by the state standards and the federal standards, we would probably need nothing more than a little chlorine added in case there's bacteria, and then we'd be ready to use it. There really aren't contaminants or unwanted minerals that need to be filtered out or chemically treated. And we're that lucky that we live over not just an abundant source of water, but one of the best quality aquifers there is. And yet, we're willing to pump out millions of gallons of that each year, not for people to use, but for cooling machines. That's all I could think about when he was talking about that. Millions of gallons of water that we're not using for bathing or cooking or hydrating ourselves, or even watering nature, our lawns and our plants and those sorts of things, but so that ultra-wealthy tech companies can waste it in cooling systems. And I say waste intentionally, because if we were to tell them no, if collectively as a state, as a country, as a society, we were to say, no, we're not going to let you use all our water, our energy, our land for this technology, the tech companies would figure out how to make the technology more efficient. They can do it. It would take them a little bit of time. It would cost them some money, but they would do it because they want the technology that badly. They would even figure it out if you had told them they had to pull it out of the river instead. If they had to take the non-potable water, they would figure out how to pay for and treat that and make it functional for their use. As much water as the Great Lakes may sound like a lot of water, but it is a finite amount. It's a finite resource. It can run out, or it can become too expensive or too difficult to access, which is probably what would happen first. Especially when we want to talk about adding another 600 acres of data center over here. And you have several other places around Southwest Ohio that also want to put massive data centers on the same aquifer. There are some people who care about preserving things for ourselves, for our future generations, whether that's the land, the water, the community, the culture, historic houses, we've heard that too. There are a lot of people who have stood before you and explained how the Prologis data center is going to ruin those things for us here, because those people see value in what we already have and they want to preserve it. I'll say it again. Please do not sell any more land for data centers or approve any more permits for data centers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to citizens of Trenton.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor, Council, Donna Lefevre, Deer Run. Tonight, residents are once again standing before a council and administration that continue to behave as though the people of this city simply do not matter. For months, this community has spoken loudly, clearly, and consistently against the direction this city is taken with this data center. Residents have filled these chambers, submitted comments, asked difficult questions, and begged for transparency. And what have we received in return? Dismissal, deflection, silence, smugness. Many of us are sick and tired of being treated like inconveniences in our own community. You sit here asking for trust while operating behind closed doors. You speak about community while ignoring the community. You talk about progress while refusing to acknowledge damage and division this process has caused. That is not leadership. Leadership requires listening, especially when the public is overwhelmingly telling you that something is wrong. Instead, residents have watched concern after concern be minimized, ignored, or brushed aside as though our homes, our families, our property values, our safety, and our future are somehow secondary to development interests. And let's be clear, the people who live with the consequences of these decisions are not consultants, developers, or attorneys. It is the residents of Trenton and the surrounding communities who will bear the burdens long after the headlines and negotiations are over. 3 sitting members of this council were not even in office when the original decisions were made. That means you still have a choice. You can continue this pattern of arrogance and public exclusion, or you can finally acknowledge that the people of this city deserve more than scripted responses and closed-door discussions. We are tired of secrecy. We are tired of deflection. And we are tired of being unheard. The people have spoken for months. The problem is not that we haven't been loud enough. The problem is this council and administration stopped listening long ago.
1 minute, please.
That's fine.
Oh.
I am finished.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
Not much of a public speaker, so bear with me.
No problem.
I say this with respect for our local government and these chambers today. It has become increasingly evident that the current sitting council no longer fairly represents the constituents of Trenton, Ohio. Through somewhat underhanded procedures like rubber stamping actions as an emergency, holding executive sessions in private, withholding records despite numerous information requests from citizens, and giving out no-bid land deals to mega corporations that will be propped up using public funds for infrastructure projects that benefit these corporations. It is clear that current council only sees a certain vision for the future of what this town should be while disregarding the valid comments and concerns of their own citizens. You've even gone as actively to trying to silence some of these criticisms by banning certain civilian speakers at town halls and completely ignoring officials from neighboring townships. It's for these reasons and much more that myself and others no longer see fit the prior 3 council members that voted on these past resolutions as fit to lead the city any further. Thus, a petition has been formed to recall the 3 sitting members still on the board. If you wish to be involved in this process in this chamber or those watching, please reach out to myself, Logan Turner, and anybody else working on the recall petitions to get your name on the signatures. And before I wrap up here, I just want to make it adamant that this is more than about just the data center. It's about the way that this council has been governed as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone like to speak? I would just like to address a couple things because I know that it is, this is a false statement that's went around. No public dollars support any of this. This is all paid for by the corporations that do it. And in fact, at this point, even the damage that was more than likely not done by Prologis, they're paying for that whole street to be repaved and redone at a cost of over $100,000 just because they want to be good neighbors to us. But no public money has ever been used for any of these projects. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
So I don't know how that started, but that is completely untrue. And the no bidding process, we are a city that is ran by our charter, and our local laws let us do that. But I will say in the past, Carvana didn't do a public bidding process. Shape Corp had no public bidding process. So neither one of those have went to it. And just to clarify a little bit, when we award contracts to local farmers to farm our land, that technically, if we followed state law, would have to go to a federal bidding process where a large corporate farm could come in and farm it or just leave it barren if they wanted to, and cut out local farmers from getting a profit off of that land. And that's why we did it the way that we did. So I just wanted to make those two things clear because I don't know how many times this week that someone has stopped me and said, "Are you using local funds for this?" And I said, "That's an absolute lie." You had your time, sir. Next.
Yeah, I'm glad you. My name's Dale Ferry. I'm glad you. Who said that?
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Anyway, I'm glad you clarified that because there's quite a few people in this room that think they know the laws as far as the bidding process and everything else. There's a guy that says he's a financial wizard. And he's trying to be an attorney now and everything else. No, I know how you do this, the bidding process. It don't have to go through the state and everything else like some of them think. The aquifer, I'm well aware of the aquifer. Have you ever called, any of you, called the EPA, who oversees all the well drilling in this community and the whole aquifer. Have you ever called the Ohio Department of Natural Resources? They oversee the aquifer too. Have you ever called Miami Conservancy and got your literature from them? Any of you? But I'll leave that right there for right now. My next thing is, we have a festival going on June 6th for the kids of this community. How many people have stepped forward and volunteered their times for the kids of this community? No one.
Let's stop. Let's stop. The person, stop. The person that's doing it, Mr. Perry, please.
I'm just saying, step forward, help this community every way you can. It's for the kids. The movie, the next week after that, is the 13th. Bring your kids out to see the movie. Snow cone machine. A lot of your council members volunteer their time to come down to that park
1 minute, please.
and actually see the kids watching the movie, snow cones, popcorn, everything else. Think about helping your community instead of condemning the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Perry, if I may, I just wanted to note additionally with the industrial park, we received Ohio Site Improvement Program grant funds to install the sanitary sewer on that site.
So
That was a grant fund. It was not city expenditures, but it was a grant.
it was a grant from Ohio to install this sewer. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go to non-residents.
I do have.
You can go ahead.
Very simple question, really. As I drove back and saw the data site, I have one question. Is there a chance to stop it now? Is that possible?
The Prologis site.
Yes, the data center.
At this time, all we can do is we're negotiating now for their tax abatement. But other than that, no.
Why in the world should a tiny little community, which we are, is why I moved here over 20 years ago, to have a wonderful community for my son Daniel, which it is. It is. And we love it here. Why would this tiny community want to give a tax abatement to multi-billionaires? I don't understand that. When our property taxes are going up, and you're going to give an abatement to Mr. Wonderful to build a data center? Guys, you're really, really headed down a horrible path here, and I would love to see you turn around.
Thank you, sir. I'd be more than willing to answer your questions privately. I'll give you my business card after this, and we'll get together and talk about it.
Okay, I'm severely hearing impaired.
Sorry.
So
I will give you my business card after this meeting is adjourned, or after the public section, and then we can get together and talk about it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Just one comment. I think a lot of people don't understand tax abatements. They think when you hear tax abatement, they think that that company's not going to pay any property tax whatsoever, and that's not the case. It's usually a percentage. It's usually for a specific term. And there's other things in place like pilot agreements where they would, pilot sense payment in lieu of taxes. Okay. There's agreements like that in place to where they are paying some property taxes. They're just not paying in a conventional manner.
You mean is it a discounted rate usually?
let's keep. Okay, we've gone over this numerous times of talking back and forth. We're not going to have discussions here. If you're not at the podium, please don't speak. You've all heard the rules. Anyone else, non-citizens? All right, we'll move on to unfinished business. I would like to entertain a motion that we read item 1 under unfinished business by title only.
Second.
Vice Mayor Croucher and Councilman Nichols. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Croucher.
Yay.
Mr. Nichols.
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery.
Yay.
Mr. Profit.
Yay.
Ms. Butts.
Yay.
Mr. Rourke.
Yay.
Mayor Perry.
Yay. Mr. Ziffel.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 1, an ordinance amending section 222.04 of the City of Trenton Code of Ordinances.
Thank you very much. This is the second reading, so I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Croucher and Councilwoman Butts. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Croucher.
Yay.
Ms. Butts.
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery.
Yay.
Mr. Profit.
Yay.
Mr. Nichols.
Yay.
Mr. Rourke.
Yay.
Mayor Perry.
Yay. Have no public hearings or new business, so we'll move on to legislation. I would like to entertain a motion that we read item 1 under legislation by title only.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Nichols and Councilwoman Montgomery. Roll call, please.
Mr. Nichols.
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery.
Yay.
Vice Mayor Croucher.
Yay.
Mr. Profit.
Yay.
Ms. Butts.
Yay.
Mr. Rourke.
Yay.
Mayor Perry.
Yay. Mr. Ziffel.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 1, a resolution approving the terms and conditions of a 3-year successor collective bargaining agreement negotiated between the City of Trenton, Ohio, and the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association full-time dispatchers, authorizing and directing execution of said collective bargaining agreement and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Ziffel. There is a request that we suspend the 2 readings and vote on this tonight. I will entertain a motion that we do so.
So moved. Second.
Vice Mayor Croucher and Councilwoman Butts. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Croucher.
Yay.
Ms. Butts.
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery.
Yay.
Mr. Profit.
Yay.
Mr. Nichols.
Yay.
Mr. Rourke.
Yay.
Mayor Perry.
Yay. I would like to say just before we vote on this and thank everyone that was involved in the collecting bargaining agreements. I think Mr. Ziffel will agree that this is probably the smoothest time that we have had for these collective bargaining agreements, and I'd like to thank everyone involved. I'd like to entertain a motion that we adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Croucher and Councilwoman Montgomery. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Croucher.
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery.
Yay.
Mr. Profit.
Yay.
Mr. Nichols.
Yay.
Ms. Butts.
Yay.
Mr. Rourke.
Yay.
Mayor Perry.
Yay. Right, we'll move on to reports. Mr. Ziffel.
Thank you, Mayor. One brief report. So, I know at our last, sorry, thank you. I always look this way, so I want to have the microphone in front of me. At our last regular meeting, I went through the upcoming resolution for the annexation petition. We're still working on finalizing to file that. I'm not going to go through that resolution today, but I do want to remind you that that resolution will be coming and it will need to be passed by emergency because of that short time frame requirement under 709 of the revised code. Since then, the city has had some initial conversations with an interested developer of some of that annexed territory, and the interested developer is Amazon Web Services. They reached out to have kind of a preliminary conversation. And I want to be very clear that it was a preliminary conversation. The city's not in receipt of any specific proposal from Amazon Web Services or AWS, and thus it's just a general conversation. But it was clear on that conversation that AWS wants to become a major partner with any community that it enters. The discussion focused on public needs of all of the communities involved, not just the city, but also the townships involved in that area. The focus was on public infrastructure improvements to any utilities, any roadways, all of which Amazon AWS mentioned that, that's what they do is they take care of any public infrastructure improvements.
to not only improve the roadways as needed, but also to alleviate traffic in the areas. And that would be for both city and township, all of this conversation related to all three communities. The conversations also focused on public safety improvements for the city and the township. And that would, for example, equipment for the fire departments to service any development, contributions towards community improvements like the Veterans Memorial, and even establishing kind of ongoing ongoing self-sustaining, a lot of S's, charitable foundations that are targeting and contribute to local 501c3s to improve these communities in particular. I wish I could provide more specifics, but there aren't any at this time. It was a very preliminary conversation. There's not specific information regarding any potential development on any part of that site yet. So, but I wanted to mention it to you all tonight and make sure that if we receive information, I'll relay it to you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you very much.
No question.
Just for the people here and watching, as soon as facts and figures are basically in writing, we'll be sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, you're waiting on a lot of variable parts and areas in preliminary conversation, and we'll continue to, as any more specifics come out, they'll come to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Masisklis.
Question was about tax abatements earlier. So the city has the ability to enter into a CRA, which is up to 75% for up to 15 years on building construction. Does not abate any land value. The land value that any developer purchased land for does not get abated. They have to pay the full amount that it would have been sold for per the auditor's millage breakdown. I discussed this and how CRAs work several times in presentations to this board. Stas has posted it, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 times on our city Facebook page. I'm sure he'll post it again after that question this evening. And also to speak a bit about the grant site redevelopment fund that we received for sewer. That was before we even marketed the site. So that we were not under any contract for any sort of private developer. We purchased the site prior to my tenure here. We had significant investments. There was actually some debt associated with both building Arnold Brown Industrial Drive as well as purchasing the site. We invested with some grant funds as well as our own funds to install sewer, improving the site value. We sold it for more than the city had paid for that at that time. So that is a little bit more backstory about the sewer fund. Lastly, I just dropped off 65 pounds of batteries at our battery recycler this past week, and I do not know if boat batteries are larger than car batteries, but they've informed me that they now accept boat batteries. We used to say anything car battery size or smaller we take for free at the city building, and then I take them down to recycle. Any proceeds we get, we donate to the Parks Fund. Any expenses we get, we just incur them. So anything boat battery or car battery size, whichever of those is bigger or smaller, we do take here at the city building in that hallway.
Is that all? Oh. Any questions? Thank you. Mr. Beresford.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no reports.
Thank you. Mr. Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no reports. However, I do have a request to go into executive session to consider confidential information that is directly related to a request for economic development assistance under any provision identified in the Ohio Revised Code 121.22, subsection G8, or that involves public infrastructure improvements or the extension of utility services that are directly related to an economic development project, as necessary to protect the interests of the applicant or the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with the economic development project, and to confer with legal counsel.
Thank you very much. And to clarify, there are certain things that we have to go into executive session about because it's confidential business dealings, and it will be very bad for the business if we do not go into executive session. What I tell people is, I think I told Marcy this, if Marcy wants to expand Marcy's Cupcakes, in Trenton and add on to it, if that became public and I owned Ryan's Cupcakes, I would know I had to expand, and I would try to outbid her for that land, that construction, and that property. So this is to protect both the city and any businesses. And then I think Mr. Nichols said this as well. Protection for the city works as if, let's say, an Applebee's wanted to build here in Trenton, and we made that public, and then the city of Monroe would come back and say, well, if you want to build a place like this, then build it in Monroe and we'll abate all your taxes for the first 2 years. So really what it does is it protects both the city as far as not being outbid or not getting in a bidding war to bring in new businesses. And it also protects the business from their, from other businesses taking advantage of that situation. Now, I do want to say, and I'm skipping ahead a little bit, the one thing that you might want to check into as far as at the State House goes, and I know that we said this before, but the bill that was passed by the State House took away our ability completely to give out public records requests if it involves economic development. So not only at this point are those records not susceptible to public records request, but on top of that, what they did was they said it is a crime punishable by, is it a misdemeanor, or did they just say? So if you ask for something from the city and it's economic development related and Stas gives it to you or our lawyers give it to you, they're going to get a misdemeanor for every document that they give you. So I personally want to tell everyone this. I am completely against that, and I think everybody in the city is completely against it. We've had free-flowing documents for a very long time. I mean, how many pages do you think you've done?
Over 1,000.
But now the state has passed this, making it a punishable crime if we put that. So definitely contact your state representatives over that. I mean, we don't have anything economic development related to hide, so I wouldn't mind releasing it all. But that is the law that was passed, so please talk to your state reps. All right, and we'll go to audience of council. We'll start with Mr. Prophet.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Perry, thank you for bringing up the volunteers at the events. Just yesterday, Miss Moore reached out to me because they don't have enough events for Spring Fest. So everybody, please volunteer. Miss Markham, thank you for bringing up the Citizens Academy. I sat through the first one. It looks, based on the pictures I've seen on Facebook, it looks like the second one is a whole lot more interesting than the first one. But good job, Stas. I talked with a few residents that live over on Clara and some of the roads around there, Victoria, and they were complaining about dust related to Trenton Square. So if we could just look at that, make sure we're doing everything there. With the radar that we had set up, Chief Carr, I've had a few residents over on East Aberdeen complaining about speed. There's probably a good third of a mile to a half mile where there's no stop signs and it's just a straight road. And if we could just look at that, and hopefully it's the same case as the other location where it's just a little deceiving. And then most people will have a 3-day weekend this weekend with Memorial Day. Just remember the reason for the holiday. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Prophet. Councilwoman Montgomery.
Well, first of all, I want to say that I am glad to be alive. And I also want to say that I'm a really big supporter of Barn and Bunk. Most of you know that. And I love that facility there, and I appreciate all of the things that they do. I know that with our EMA our Edgewood Ministerial Association, when they have their meetings, a lot of times the barn and bone with some mayonnaise, that is wonderful. I also want to thank all of you that have said prayers for me and my husband, and we are going through another medical thing, and I know that God's in control, and He's got it, and so we met with the surgeon, we met with the oncologist and everything, and so as we go through this, just keep us in your prayers. I definitely, every single day, I pray with my oldest sister. We get together on the phone and we pray a prayer and declaration, but one of the things that we do is we always pray for the city. My heart, and I've lived here now going on 32 years, and I love this city. I don't intend to leave this city until I'm wheeled out and put into the ground. Well, no. Anyway, whatever. I have some other things, my thoughts on that. But I took it very serious when I took this position. It means a lot to me. And this past Saturday, we were able to have a wonderful learning session, and it was great. All of the things that we were able to accomplish through that retreat, it was amazing. And I have always liked those. In the back here, you'll see that little thing that's on the wall about the vision of Trenton. And if you look at that, that's what we did on Saturday again. And so we have another pillar in there. And I'm proud to say that the pillar is infrastructure, and helping us to build better roads, better streets, all of the things that we're going to do, but also the vision that we have for an overpass. And I can say that now because we've already made that one of our infrastructures. And that's always been something on my heart. I've sat on the bridge for 45 minutes sometimes waiting for the train to get through. And so I am very happy that we have a vision for that. I may not see it, I may be gone before any of that happens, but at least it's there. It's a vision, and I'm grateful for that. Grateful for all these wonderful people that are setting up here that I know, and they're doing everything they can to do what is right for the residents and the city. And so I'm grateful. So, and I want to thank Deacon Gronis for the prayer. I always enjoy his prayers. They are wonderful. And I am proud to be part of a city that prays before the council meetings and says the Pledge of Allegiance to this country, because that's where I stand. I'm proud to be an American and proud to be a Trenton, or whatever you guys call yourself. Trentonites. Trentonites. That's what I am. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you,
right.
Mrs. Montgomery. Councilman Rourke.
Yeah, I just want to say I enjoyed the workshop we had Saturday. Learned a lot of new avenues as far as being a councilman and looking at different things differently. I am kind of on a mission, and I think all of us are. I've brought up many times in executive meetings that I want us to bring information to the residents that hasn't already been done or decided on. And I think we're going to be able to achieve that this year. Mm-hmm. And that's what it's all about, transparency. I mean, a lot of people don't understand, comments on Trenton Talk, all the backroom deals. There's no backroom deals. It's about talking with these people that do great jobs for this city. And lately I've been nudging them. What can we give them? What's going on? What can we bring to the residents that ain't already done and they don't have no say-so about? So that's the outlook this council's looking for this year, to be more transparent, to bring things to you that will actually, the residents would be able to make a difference on. And that's I'm speaking for myself. I know others feel the same way. That's our goal. That's our goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Butts.
I would like to thank Mr. Masisklis and Mr. Ziffel for your reports where you brought some clarity as to what's going on, what can be the positives that can come to the community. I know you couldn't be too detailed about that, but I'm anxious to hear more of the positive things that could come out of this. And I would like to also thank everyone who organized and got that council retreat together, because it was a great opportunity for us to dig into the strategic plan and make sure that we're going in the right direction. And I mean, it was a solid plan. We did a few tweaks, but it was a very good day. Also, I want to remind everyone that on council, we have to look at things from every direction. We can't just be, we can't just zero in on one thing. We have to look at the pros and cons. We have to look at how it will benefit or not benefit the entire community, not just certain areas. So that's what we're working on. And I encourage everyone who's listening and reading things to ask questions to the people who actually know and have the data and the answers for you, as opposed to just taking what you read or hear as fact. So I just ask that everyone have the same respect and accountability for yourselves as you have for everyone sitting up here. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Nichols.
Question on the splash pad. Do we know if that's going to be finished up for the Spring Festival or not at this point?
I do not have an answer for you. I'll have to get an updated timeline on what that looks like.
Okay. If not, can we get them to at least clean up that site some before Spring Fest? Because I was down there again today. I've been going by frequently just to look at the progress, and I'm yet to catch anybody there working on it, but which is kind of disappointing. But that site is still looking pretty rough. It'd be nice if they could get it cleaned up some for the festival at least, so people get a little better idea of what it's going to eventually look like. The other thing I had is I want to thank all of our EMS providers, as this is National EMS Recognition Week. Being in EMS for almost 40 years, I appreciate the things that they do daily that a lot of people don't see, all the training they have to go through and to, originally get their certifications, then the continuing education they have to go through and learning new equipment all the time and everything. And I really appreciate all that they do for the community. And I think that's all I have this evening.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Croucher.
I would also like to thank Deacon Larry Doronis for tonight's prayer. I'd also like to remind everybody the first Friday of every month is Coffee with a Cop at State Street. Chief Carr and Lieutenant Rosenfelder and the rest of the Trenton PD that is available will be there to discuss any questions that you have, to ask them, and to let you know of anything that is going on. If you have any concerns about speeding, people running stop signs, throwing garbage out in your neighborhood, please show up, talk to them so we can get these radar detecting devices put up on the poles so we can detect the speed that people are doing. Again, thank you, Chief Carr, for doing that. I know there was a lot of concern right there on that corner with the new subdivision going in on West Arlington. I'd also like to go back to Ms. Markham. I also went to the Citizens Academy. Yours is much more funner, I gotta say. Me and Austin actually went to the first one, and it was fun. Please don't get me wrong. But I can tell by the pictures you all are having a really good time. And Staj, you do a fantastic job.
Yes, he does.
Really, really appreciate you putting that on.
Teamwork.
For the citizens of Trenton. But, yeah, Memorial Day is this weekend. Everybody remember our loved ones that's passed. Other than that, Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Croucher.
Can I make a quick up? And in regards to Coffee with the Cop on the first Friday, there's almost always at least a couple council members there too. If you have questions for council, you're more than welcome to come and ask those then too. Sorry?
What time?
It is on Friday morning at
7
a.m., 7 to 9. Had to stop and think whether it was 7 or 8. It was 7 to 9.
Chief Carr is going to buy you a cup of coffee.
Not a fancy one, just a regular cup.
Yeah, just cream and sugar.
Right. And I guess that just leaves me. I would like to thank everyone for the great retreat. I think we all got a lot more on the same page with a lot of stuff that we're doing. And we previously had pillars that we went for that guide the decisions that we have. And if you look at some of the staff reports, you'll see at the bottom, if I'm correct, where that is with the pillars. So everything has a tie back to those pillars. I'm very happy to add the infrastructure. I think that right now we are at our infrastructure limit, and especially with Trenton Square. So I plan on being, I don't plan on it. I am looking forward to all the exciting infrastructure things that we have that we're going to announce here in the next few months and the projects we're doing. Just so you know, the council, there was a thing at the end where we put up what everyone got so many Post-it notes. We put up what was important to us. And then we had stickers to stick on them, what was important. The number one thing that was important for us to accomplish was an overpass.
Yep.
And I think everybody knows how big of a project that's going to be. So we are beginning that. The second thing that was put up was a veterans memorial.
Yes.
And that's another thing we are aggressively going after to get. And then the third one was no further taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Not to bring a levy for anything, including keeping the 5th fireman on a shift for every shift.
Yep.
If you're aware, we've talked before, our levy was just for 3 firefighters. Am I correct?
Yes, it was for 3 part-time firefighters at the rates that were paid in 2014.
So when we passed the levy, it was for 3 part-time firefighters at the fire station at all times at the 2014 rate. We have stretched those dollars, and we've added a little bit out of the general fund. We have been keeping 5 firefighters at the station that whole time without any additional levies, and we plan on continuing to do that with whatever it takes. And the reason it's 5, in case you're watching, is that allows us to do 2 runs at one time. So if we had 4, we would be unable to take a second run during a time when we were out on a run. Having that 1 extra person there allows us to be able to make a second run, which I believe is critical to the city. Because without, we're calling for mutual aid. And while the mutual aid around us are very professional, they are very good, they are not, I don't believe they're there full time, correct? Yes. Yes. So that helps us. And then it also helps the rest of the surrounding communities as well. And I also want to say, too, when it comes to volunteering, please come volunteer. I think I say it every time that I have one of these. I went to the event that the Edgewood Soccer had, and ironically, it's a lot of the same volunteers that I see at baseball. A lot of the same volunteers that I see manning blow up things at at our Spring Fest. A lot of the same volunteers I see at movies. So please, I understand you care about your city. I get that. We all care about our city. But please volunteer, if not with the city, volunteer at the EMA that always needs volunteers as well, or with soccer or with baseball. Just find some time to give back to your community like that, because without volunteers, a lot of that stuff is going to stop happening because there's just not enough people to take care of it. So that is all I have. Oh, I do want to do one last thing, and this was brought up by Miss Markham, and I think it's a pretty good idea. While we can't discuss directly what we went into executive session for, the language that we have to use by the ORC is very vague, and it's there for a reason. but I'll expand on it a little bit. Our executive session earlier was to talk about what, with the possible annexations, we can do for the townships to make make lives easier and to fix some of the problems that are in the townships as well. So when I keep saying that this is not just a Trenton thing, everyone is committed to making the whole area better. We are in contact with both townships. We are in contact with the county, and we are all discussing this lock and step because this isn't just a Trenton thing. This will include all of us, and I believe that we have a pretty good thing going with that. And then the second one that we're going to talk about, Mr. Nichols, if I am correct, because I wasn't 100% on this, is we are discussing Southwest Water.
Correct.
So those are the two things. I will do my best to stay within the legal limits to give just a brief what it's about, but it was that was brought to my attention during an emergency council meeting that we had. That a lot of people didn't like it, and actually what that was for was to talk over how do we make the townships whole with this, and how do we not take away from them and make them better than they were. But I don't blame the public for that. Honestly, the ORC language is very vague for a reason, but there's nothing that tells us that we can't say what we are actually going in there for. So if it's something positive like that it doesn't get the reaction that we did. So I think that's the best way going forward in our proceedings. So with that, I will entertain a motion that we go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Croucher and Councilwoman Montgomery. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Croucher.
Yay.
Ms. Montgomery.
Yay.
Mr. Prophet.
Yay.
Mr. Nichols.
Yay.
Ms. Butts.
Yay.
Mr. Rourke.
Yay.
Mayor Perry.
Yay. We are going into executive session at 8:41 p.m. No further business will be conducted after executive session lets out. We will simply close the meeting, and I thank you all. You have a good holiday weekend, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.